What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talk Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. Let's get started with some baseball. A couple of moves that were made. We had a trade that happened this point we're pushing about a week ago. The Atlanta Braves acquire infielder Mauricio Dubon from the Houston Astros and send Nick Allen the other way. Dubon's probably going to play shortstop for them. They've been looking for a shortstop for a few years now, really since Danny Swanson signed with the Chicago Cubs as a free agent. They've kind of had a revolving door. Randall Arcia played a bunch for them. He's a good shortstop, but doesn't hit a lick. Nick Allen was kind of the same thing. Didn't hit much, hit barely above 200, but it is a very good infielder. Dubon, not quite the infielder that Allen, but still is a plus fielder and a solid hitter. And he now heads to Atlanta. Well, Atlanta gets a slight upgrade at shortstop. Houston, they just want to get a little bit younger, which I get. That's an older group, obviously. Team is the same from all those teams that won the World Series. We'll see what happens in the offseason with Valdez hitting the market. They just missed the playoffs this past year, so Nick Allen now is now in Houston. Mauricio Dubon heads to Atlanta. And the non-tender deadline came and went. Was not as busy as it usually is. Usually there's at least 7 or 8 bigger names that get let go and enter the free agent market. But this time, not so much. The only big name was Adolis Garcia was non-tendered by the Texas Rangers. Kind of saw what's coming. This is a guy who had developed into one of the better players in baseball. He had a really strong run for a few years there. He burst onto the scene in 2021 as a rookie. Hit 243, 31 home runs, 90 RBI, the 740 OPS. Following year in 2022, hit 250, 27 pops, 101 RBIs with 756 OPS. Career in 23, hit 245, 39 home runs, 107 RBIs, 836 OPS. To this day, still a career high. Slugged 508. Made the All-Star team for the second time. Won a Gold Glove in the outfield. Was a big piece in that playoff run. I think might have been in records of MVP. Actually, was great in that postseason. His OPS was over 1100 in that postseason when Texas won it all. The last 2 years has regressed. 2024 hit just 224, 25 homers, 85 RBI, just a 684 OPS. And this past year was even worse. Hit just 227, 19 homers, 75 RBIs, 135 games, a 665 OPS. Look, he's a little bit older. He came up a little bit late. He came to St. Louis very, very briefly, and then he was traded to the Texas Rangers. And he's gonna be 33 years old next year. And obviously, his bat has cooled off these last couple of years, but he still has power. Still has the ability to give you 20 and 80, even if he's not heading for a lot of average. He's not an on-base guy for his career. In 7 years in the league, he's got over 2,100 at bats. He's a 290 on-base guy. But he's got 141 home runs in those 28, a little over 2,100 at bats. He's a very good outfielder that can play center and right field at a very high clip. Has power. He's only 3 seasons removed from having 39 and 107 and being a major postseason producer. I think someone will bring him in to probably be just a starting outfielder, whether it's center or right, maybe even put him in left field, who knows. But Martos Garcia was let go by the Texas Rangers. We had a bit of a shocking trade between the New York Mets and the Texas Rangers that broke last night. They tried to sneak it in. Football Sunday. Everyone's watching football. Winter meetings isn't for like another week and a half. Got Thanksgiving this week. And MLB is about to slip in a pretty big trade. Tried their best. Mets send outfitter Brandon Nimmo to the Texas Rangers and in return receive second baseman Marcus Semien. So let's break this down. For the Mets side, at first I didn't like it. I've always liked Brandon Nimmo. I don't know how you can't. He's one of the most likable guys in baseball. But the more I think about it, the more I understand it. Look, Nimmo's still a good player. This past year hit 262, 25 home runs, 92 RBIs, 760 OPS. Still a solid defender as a left fielder, but is declining. He's going to be 33 next year. Has 3 years and 72 million left on that big contract. Stern said he wants to improve the Mets' run prevention, get better defensively, and he is aging. Promo Semien is going to be 35 next year, actually. Uh, had the worst year of his career last year. 127 games, hit only 230, 15 homers, 62 RBIs, just a 669 OPS. However, he's an excellent second baseman defensively. He won his second career Gold Glove last year. This is a three-time All-Star. He's been a Silver Slugger twice in the past. He was an MVP finalist twice. Those guys started in Oakland, had that big year back in 2016. 27 homers, 75 RBIs, hit 238. Then he had an injury plagued year in 2017, 2018. Uh, Small bounce back, 255, 15, 70. 2019 had a big year, 285, 33 homers and 192 RBIs. Struggled in the pandemic year, but then signed the 1 year deal in Toronto in 21 and broke a record for most uh, home runs by a second baseman ever. Hit 45 pops that year. Signed that huge deal with the Texas Rangers in 2022. 248, 26, and 83 in 22. 2023 was an All-Star. Hit 276, 20 homers, 100 RBIs, 826 OPS. The second highest OPS of his career besides the 2019 year, his last second to last year in Oakland. That's full season in Oakland. It goes right for the pandemic year, obviously. 23 had a really good year. 24, great first half, struggled in the second half, was an all-star. Still at 237, which isn't very good. But 22 homers, 74 RBI, 699 OPS. This past year, wasn't great, going to be 35, but he's an excellent second baseman defensively, can play short, can play third. Who knows, maybe his bat bounces back. He's played at least 100, outside of 2025, he played 159 games or more for in 5 straight full seasons, not including the pandemic year. He's led the league in games of 161 or 162 4 times since 2019. So he plays every day. Very good defender at second. They get better defensively. They save a tiny bit of money, which isn't a big deal. Offensively, may lose a little bit, however, Nimmo is declining. Sad to see him go, but I understand the trade. It's opened up some avenues for them as it allows them to go after a top outfielder like Kyle Tucker or Cody Bellinger in free agency. Now you have all these infielders, McNeil, a couple of younger guys like Mauricio and Luis Angel Acuna. Obviously, Mark Vientos, so he probably punches in the designated hitter last year. Brett Baty probably punches in the third next year. You could package a couple of these guys to maybe get a guy like Trick Screw Ball, get yourself an ace. Maybe a big time outfield bat, whoever that might be. So it opens up some avenues. Obviously, still got to go out and execute the offseason. You know, Pete Alonso's a pretty much must bring back for me. Edwin Diaz is as close to as it gets in the closer role as well. And they got at a whole lot of pitching. Alpha Stone and outfield bat even more so now. But so a pretty big trade for between the Mets and the Rangers. On the Texas side, I think this is a good pickup. Nimmo is still a solid starting outfielder. Great clubhouse guy. He's got 3 years left on his deal. Going to be 33 next year. He fits in there. Good veteran to have in that room. And you move off of Semien, who appears to be declining. No, I think they need a little bit of a shakeup. I think both teams, their core need a little bit of a shakeup. Met after last year, Texas back-to-back years missing the playoffs after the World Series championship. You fire a Hall of Fame manager, Bruce Bochy. You bring in Skip Schumacher to run the ball club now. I think both cores need a shakeup, and both of them got it with this trade. But now I'm going to finish on my MLB free agency predictions. Going to do the pitchers now. I'm going to start with the bullpen guys. I'm going to start with Brad Keller. I have him going to the Arizona Diamondbacks for 3 years, $36 million. Keller, long-time starting pitcher, came up in Kansas City. Had some decent years, but injuries and inconsistencies couldn't really put it all together. Had a year in Cincinnati, wasn't very good. Ends up with the Cubs last year. They put him in the bullpen. Ends up having a really good year as their closer. Last year, 68 games, 207 ERA. Like I said, he did some closing work. I think he's earned the right to be a closer. I think he will want to be a closer. I think he'll be able to do that going to Arizona. Arizona's needs that. Obviously, have a lot of needs in the starting rotation. You traded away some pieces, at the deadline. Gallon's afraid we'll get to him a little bit later in this exercise. But and then the corners, because he traded Suarez and Naylor away. I talked about that in my one of all the bats that are hitting the market. But also the bullpen needs a little bit of help, and I think Brad Keller will be a nice boost for them. Next guy on here I have is Pete Fairbanks. So Fairbanks has quality developed one of the best relievers in the game. Going to be 32 next year. First career with the Rays, he has 275 career appearances, 3.19 career ERA, 90 career saves, over 265 in the third innings. You just look at what he's done these last bunch of years. 2023 had a 258 in 49 games, 25 saves. 2024, 46 games, 45 in the third, 3.57 ERA, so not quite as efficient, but his passing was very good. Career high 61 games, 2.83 ERA, 27 saves, had 59 Ks, and 18 walks and 16 a third. So his strikeout numbers don't jump off the page, but they have in the past. In 23 and 45 and 30, he has 68 Ks. So his last 2 years, his strikeout numbers haven't jumped off the page, but he's a very efficient reliever who's been a closer. He's been like a middle reliever. Going to be 32. He kind of quieted the thing, the issue that maybe he can't pitch that many innings. He gave you 60 innings, which is a pretty good big number for a reliever. 60 games, a pretty big number for a reliever. I'm going to the Cubs. 2 years, 20.5 million. The Cubs, every other conference say, well, we're spending a lot of money, and they kind of do a couple of smaller things where they don't really need, and just hope it kind of works out. This seems like a move for them. They already have a very good bullpen. They're probably going to lose a piece or two. A couple guys are going to be free agents. Their closer down the stretch last year was Keller. I think he leads. I think they replace him with Pete Fairbanks. They have to raise pony up. The next guy is Kenley Jansen. I didn't realize this. Kenley Jansen is like 7 or 4 saves away from passing Lee Smith to have the third most saves in the history of Major League Baseball. The only two guys ahead of him would be Trevor Hoffman, of course, Mariano Rivera. Jansen, pushing 40 years old, but still an excellent closer. Last with the Angels, 62 games, 2.59 ERA, and 29 saves. He's been pitching forever. Like I said, he's almost 40. He was with the Dodgers for all those years. He was in Atlanta for a bit. He was in Texas for a bit. Was the Angels last year. A lot of postseason experience. He's got a couple championships. Like I said, he's going to end up finishing his career most likely the third most saves in league history. I think he goes to the Washington Nationals a year for $9 million. Washington just brought in a new general manager. He came from Boston. I believe he was in their front office when Jansen played there briefly. It was part of the front office that signed him originally to have a short stint with the Boston Red Sox. He pitched pretty well for them. I don't know what they're going to do in the offseason. Do they tear this thing down? Do they look to move Mackenzie Gore? Uh, but he got Craig Stammes, now the manager, who's a former reliever himself. He's going to want to have a strong bullpen. And the good story is having a legit closer. Kyle Finnegan is a guy you traded away last year to re-sign him before the year. They're going to want a closer and they get a veteran in Kenley Jansen. And if they struggle again next year, which is very likely, I don't even think they made the playoffs since your 2019 World Series championship. You had 96 losses last year. New regime coming in after a long time. So I think they'll bring him in probably with the expectation that he'll be a trade chip and he'll be a guy you flip at a deadline for a solid prospect that you can develop. Maybe play for them late this upcoming season, or maybe even 2027, 2028. So I think Jansen goes to Washington. Next name is Ryan Helsley. I have him going to Toronto a year for $12 million. Look, Helsley was really bad last year with the Mets down the stretch, getting picked up at the trade deadline. But he was an elite closer for St. Louis for years, for 3 or 4 years in a row. He was having a good year with St. Louis, had a 2.7 ERA, closing games for St. Louis before getting traded to the Mets. Maybe he's just not cut up to be a setup guy. The guy's just a closer. And every reliever for the most part past that 1 year where they're off. Edwin Diaz in 2019 was really bad. They're coming off from the Mariners to the Mets. You fast forward a couple of years, he's once again, probably the most dominant reliever in the National League. Aroldis Chapman's last year with the Yankees, who I thought he was washed. He had an ERA of 1 this year with Boston. He's 38 years old. Still one of the best closers in the game. Was the reliever of the year in the American League last year. And everyone has it. I think the same thing for Devin Williams. I'll get to him shortly in this exercise. But I'm going to think say he bounces back in Toronto. I think he'll come in as like a setup guy, middle relief guy. Jeff Hoffman was inconsistent throughout the year last year, but had a pretty good postseason outside of giving up the home run to Rojas in Game 7. I think he'll probably start as like the 7th, 8th inning guy in that mix with Louis Varland and Sir Anthony Dominguez behind Jeff Hoffman. And things go south of Hoffman, they can turn to Helsley because he has some very strong closing experience. So I think he goes to the Toronto Blue Jays. Devin Williams is another guy that's kind of in the same situation I just mentioned. This is a guy who was a dominant closer for Milwaukee for several seasons, one of the best in the game. Gets traded to the Yankees to close for them after Clay Holmes leaves in for agency and had a rough year in 2024. And then the guy he fell apart. A little better in the second half, but overall not a good year. But this is a guy that, as much as he has struggled in the postseason, at least in the regular season, he has been excellent outside of last year. So I do think he ends up with the New York Mets. I'll get to what I think happens with Edwin Diaz and the other top tier closers in a couple minutes here. But the Mets need more than just Diaz back. Their bullpen had a lot of injuries last year. You non-tender Max Kranick, who at some point probably would have pitched for you, as well as Jose Castillo and Danny Young, to death pieces on the left-handed side of the bullpen that pitched for you over the last two seasons. So you're gonna need bullpen arms. I think Devin Williams, you go to the Mets, you have a strong season, a bounce back campaign as like a setup guy, and then next year you could, try and cash in to be a closer again. So Devin Williams, I have him going to the Mets. I have him getting a 1 year deal for $15 million. Whereas like he's already signed with the Braves. I got two more relievers I'm going to talk about right now. Robert Suarez, Padres closer this last bunch of years. Suarez is elite for sure. I have him going to the Dodgers. The Dodgers, they need a closer. They had a converged starter who was injured most of the year in Roki Sasaki. Closing for you in the postseason. He's going to be part of the rotation next year. Bullpen had a lot of issues. I know you spent a little money on Tamara Scott the year prior. He didn't have a good year. Didn't even pitch in the postseason. But they're going to want to go out and spend on a closer. They need to. Suarez is older, so he's going to be 35. I have him getting a 2 year deal with $35 million. Suarez is a guy who I think he pitched overseas for a while. He didn't come to the majors till 2022 when he was 31. But you look what he's done. These last 2 years in 2023, 65 games, 277 ERA, 36 saves, 59 strikeouts, just 16 walks in how many innings did he have? 65 innings. His passer was even better, I would argue, in 70 games, 297 ERA, a league leading 40 saves, 69 2/3 innings, 75 strikeouts against 16 walks. So his strikeout numbers don't jump off the page. Although he is 35, he's only played 4 years in the major league, so he has a little bit more left in the arm than most 35-yard relievers do. He's been elite these last 2 years, one of the best closers in all of baseball. Even though his strikeout numbers aren't really there, he's got great stuff, really great fastball, really good stuff. That was a real closer, Robert Suarez. And then Edwin Diaz. I think the Mets re-sign him. I know I'm hearing rumors that he might not come back. Mets might move on, but you gotta have him back. As many bullpen issues you've had the last couple of years, he's been the main constant. He's been so good. Also, he opted out of the last, what was it, 2 years and 38 million of that 5 year, $102 million deal. I think he resigns 4 years, 95 million. Maybe not there after the third season. Diaz was National League Reliever of the Year. The last couple of years, he has been so dominant. I still think you can let that guy go. I think the Mets end up bringing him back. Now, let's talk about the starting pitchers. So I'm going to start with the Japanese sensation Tatsuya Amai. I think he goes to the San Diego Padres on a 7 year deal of $175 million. I think the Padres pay up. They need a lot of work on that rotation. Dylan Cease is a free agent. They have a lot of kind of maybes. Yu Darvish is not going to pitch next year. He's going to be injured. Joe Musgrove, I'm not sure when he's going to come back off Tommy John. The rotation outside Nick Pivetta is got a lot of question marks. So Michael King's also a free agent. So I'm going to say Imai, they pay up for Imai as AJ Preller. He mortgages the farm at the deadline every single year. He's willing to spend. Got to keep up with the Dodgers. Imai last year, 24 starts, 1.92 ERA, and 163 and 2/3. In 9 years pitching overseas, got over 1,000 innings, 307 career ERA. He's a very good starting pitcher. I think he will translate very nicely to the major league in 2022. 15 starts at 204 ERA in 2023, 24 starts at 273 ERA in 158 innings. Obviously, the main to ease him in a little bit. He's never thrown more than 173 and a third in the season. But I think he slots in as a very good number 2 or 3 starter. And I think San Diego pays up for him. He's still going to be 28 next year. So he gets a big deal from the San Diego Padres. Also, moving forward, I thought Brandon Woodruff be a target for the Mets. He's a qualifying offer to go back to Milwaukee. Zach Lytle, I'm going to the A's. 2 years, 33 million. The A's last year showed a slight willingness to spend some money. You went out and brought in Luis Severino on a multi-year deal. You transferred Jeffrey Springs. You actually targeted Show Manaea before the Mets re-signed him, which ended up working out for the A's because Manaea was terrible for the Mets last year. You gave a Lawrence Butler a huge extension. I think they had Zach Lytle. The rotation still has a lot of question marks. I think they add a solid veteran in Lytle, who's quietly been one of the better starters in baseball these last couple of years. I think the last 4 years, he's like an ERA of 3.5 or 3.6. Top 3 ERA with the Reds last year. Was probably their second best starting pitcher behind Hunter Green. He's very solid innings leader middle of the year rotation. I think he goes to the A's 2 years and $33 million. Moving along, Merrill Kelly. I think he goes to the Braves a year for 14 million. Merrill Kelly is going to be 37 years old, but is a very good starting pitcher. He's pitched for a while, pitched overseas came to the major leagues with the Arizona for most of his career, besides him finishing up in Texas. He's been a very good starting pitcher, very underrated for a while, very good innings leader in the middle of your rotation. Atlanta has had a ton of starting pitching injuries these last couple of years. Your ace, Chris Sale, obviously he's older, has a history of arm issues. Spencer Strider, first full year off Tommy John. A lot of these other guys were injured a lot, Schwellenbach and Grant Holmes last year. So I think Merrill Kelly will provide some stability to that rotation. And if healthy, a top three of Chris Sale, Spencer Strider, and Merrill Kelly is as good as it gets in this league. I have Merrill Kelly going to the Atlanta Braves, who appear to not be rolling over even after a really disappointing year and in a bit of an aging core. Zach Gallen's next guy I'm going to talk about. I think he goes back to the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think he takes a 1 year deal worth $12 million. Look, Gallen is a very polarizing pitcher in this free agency market. He's been elite in the past. He's also been a little inconsistent, had some injuries. He burst onto the scene in the pandemic year, having a 2.75 ERA in 72 innings. But followed up in 2021, just 23 starts, 4.3 ERA, but bounces back in 2022. In 31 starts, has a 2.54 ERA. Finished fifth in the Cy Young voting, 184 innings, 192 strikeouts. In 23, made his lone All-Star appearance. In 34 starts, had a 3.47 ERA, 210 innings, 220 strikeouts. In 24, slight down year, 28 starts, 3.65 ERA, 148 innings. He had 156 strikeouts this past year, worst year of his career. 33 starts, but 4.83 ERA, 192 innings, 175 strikeouts, and 66 walks, which was a career high. However, he's going to be 30 years old, but 176 career starts, over 1,000 career innings, 3.58 ERA. I think Arizona will bank on them bouncing back, but Gallen might want a 1 year deal to prove it and then cash out next year. I think it's what happens. I think he goes back to the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I think if they didn't think they were going to bring him back, they would have traded him. I know he didn't have a good year, but he had the area where 5 going to the deadline. But they would have tried to get something from him. Someone would have given you something for a guy who's a former top 5 Cy Young candidate not that long ago. All right, Shota Imanaga, so the call. I'm going to go back to the Cubs. All right, next name is Michael King. I have him going to the Chicago Cubs. Joining Shota Imanaga, 3 years, $4.7 million. But King's a great pitcher. But health was a major concern. 2024, he was electric. He was fantastic. Was really good in the playoffs this past year. Also pitched very well, but was hurt a lot. Only 85 innings. Injuries are a major concern for him. When healthy, he's one of the better arms in baseball. Frontline starter for sure. Injuries are a concern. I can see there being like an opt-out clause here. Maybe a team option if he were to, have some injuries. But I think it's a 3 year, $47 million deal. Join the Cubs. I think the Cubs still need another frontline arm. He'll be out when Justin Steele's going to pitch next year if he does it all. Chris Bassett, next guy on here. I have him going to the Yankees a year for $8.5 million. Well, the Yankees, when their rotation is at full strength, is maybe the best in baseball. With Garrett Cole coming back, you have Cam Schlittler, Max Fried-Carlos Rodon, Luis Heel, maybe Clark Schmidt pitches at some point. But Cole, you might not see till closer to the midseason, coming off Tommy John surgery. He's 37 years old. I'm not sure if Schmidt pitches at all. And Fried's, 33 years old. Rodon's like 32. Schlittler and Healy are only young guys that you have. Schlittler is going to be his first full season, as good as he was last year. Obviously, that playoff game against Boston was electric. Heel has also dealt with injuries in his short career. So they really need one more veteran to just provide some stability. Will probably start as their fifth starter. Maybe when Cole gets back, moves to the bullpen. He's very good in the bullpen down the stretch for the Blue Jays in the postseason. So I think they bring him in to kind of, eat some innings, provide some stability. You're getting out of him. Still a solid pitcher, even at going to be 38 years old or 37 years old next year. And could move to the bullpen if need be when Garrett Cole comes back in the summertime. Next guy is Ranger Suarez. I'm going to the Blue Jays. 105 million. Suarez is a really good pitcher. Doesn't go very deep into ball game. He's never pitched more than 158 innings, but takes the ball every fifth day. Is very good, very efficient. One of the best ground ball pitchers in all of baseball. Is going to be very huge in Toronto. They have a very good defensive unit behind him. Uh, he got a lot of ground balls in Philadelphia with one of the worst defensive units behind him. Now he has one of the best in Toronto. I think it's a really good fit. Need one more solid starting pitcher in Toronto. Chris Bassitt hits the market. Max Scherzer hits the market. Shamir does come back. And Kevin Gausman is really good. He was good in the postseason. We saw what Troy Savage did. He's going to be a great pitcher for a while. Healthy Shane Bieber. This could be a talented rotation, but still need one more piece. I think they get that with Ranger Suarez. I think he gets a pretty big deal to head to the Toronto Blue Jays. And then Dylan Cease. I think the Mets pick him up. It just kind of seems like a really good fit. I think it's a 3-year deal with $49 million. Cease is a very kind of odd pitcher. Another polarizing name here. In the last 4 years, he's had 2 top 4 Cy Young finishes. But the 2 other years, he was not very good. This past year, 4.5 ERA, a lot of walks, a lot of home run balls. But when he's on, he's one of the frontline arms in the game. And then at the very least, I do think he's a very solid innings in the back of your rotation. The Mets bank on at least something in between that. I think they can get. He gets 3 years, $49 million to head to the New York Mets. And then the last name on here, Framber Valdez. I have him going to the Boston Red Sox. I doubt after the whole debacle of him crossing up his catcher, it appeared so on purpose, had some character concerns. He goes back to Houston. Boston is looking for a number 2 start to pair with Garrett Crochet. You have him and Valdez. You have 2 just filthy, really good left-handers. Both those a little bit older. Struggle down the stretch, but still a very good starting pitcher, very good number 2 starter. I think the top 3 left-handed starters in the game are probably Skubal, Crochet, and then Framber Valdez. I think he heads to Boston on a 4-year deal worth $88 million. College football recap, week 13. Late in the season, this coming week, we got rivalry week, then we have conference championships, then we get deep into the bowl games. But Saturday slate, we had a lot of blowouts, a lot of ridiculous matchups. Number 1, Ohio State beat Rutgers 42-9. No surprise there. I don't know why they scheduled this game this late in the season, to be honest. Rutgers is now at 5-6, so they gotta win this next week in order to be bowl eligible. So they were last year, but Ohio State remains number 1, 11-0. The number 3 Texas A&M beats Samford 48-0. Samford's 1-11. Holy yikes! Texas A&M remains 11-0 on the season. Number 4 Georgia beats Charlotte 35-3. Georgia is 10-1. Charlotte's 1-10. Well, I don't see it with Gunnar Stockton. Just 17 of 20, 17 of 21 is good, but 196 yards and then a pick. I just don't see it with him. But number 7 Oregon picks up a win over number 15 USC, 42-27. In a big game in the Big Ten, Oregon improves to 10-1. USC drops to 8-3. Probably kills their college football playoff hopes. USC that is. Number 8 Oklahoma beats number 22 Missouri 17-6. Just a kind of an old school, low scoring game between 2 of the best defenses in the SEC and 2 of the worst offenses. Oklahoma wins. They get to 9-2. Missouri drops to 7-4. 3-4 in the SEC. Oklahoma is 5-2 in the SEC. Number 9 Notre Dame beats Syracuse 70-7. Jeremiah Love 8 carries for 171 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think he's the Heisman. I think Jeremiah Love should be the Heisman. I think he'll be the first running back taken next year. And should have a great NFL career. Notre Dame's now 9-2. He won 9 games in a row. They were up 49-0 at the half. My God. Syracuse, a lot of injuries have kind of killed them this year. Dropped to 3-8 on the season. Number 10, Alabama takes care of business against Eastern Illinois, 56-0. By the way, I'm good on Ty Simpson. 147 yards and 2 picks against Eastern Illinois, who's 3-9. Yeah, I'm good. Alabama wins 56-zip. Number 11, BYU beat Cincinnati 26-14. BYU gets to 10-1 on the season. This football is going to come down to the wire, if they don't think they'll get in. Now, especially if the ACC actually gets a spot, but if the ACC gets locked out, which they actually might, because holy moly, that conference sucks. Uh, BYU is going to be a team you're going to look at like, their only losses to Texas Tech, who might be top 5 in the country. They're going to easily win that conference. It looks like that might be a case. But BYU wins. Number 12 Utah wins a crazy game over Kansas State, 51-47. Crazy game. They were down 31-21 at the half, and come back down by 10 in the last 4 minutes to win this game.
Parker in the backfield. Dampier near midfield. Pump faking. Now throws, and it's caught right near the first down mark by Larry Simmons. They will hand it off. Parker right side. Parker breaks a tackle and gets the first down. Dampier toward the corner of the end zone, and caught! Touchdown, Larry Simmons. Johnson's going to throw. And in fact, he's going to get sacked. Johnson, pressure coming, delivers the ball, but the tackle in the open field. Dampier with Parker is going to fake it. Dampier straight ahead. There he goes! Dampier! Inside the 30, to the sideline, inside the 5. Parker in motion. Dampier keeps it. Dampier, touchdown, Utah! Into the backfield alongside Johnson. In to help pass protect. Johnson scrambling. Throws across his body, and it's intercepted!
What a game. Utah comes from behind. 3.5 to go. Big play from Dampier. Throw up the middle, and then he throws that pass and touchdown. We had a fourth down conversion in between there. Then they get a 3 out, get the ball back about 2.5 minutes ago, no timeout, and they go all the way down the field. Score a touchdown, 56 seconds left. A great game management by Utah, and again, the interception in the final minute to ice the game. So big win for Utah. Number 13, Miami beats Virginia Tech 34-17. No surprise there. Carson Beck does play well. 27 on 32 for 324 touchdowns coming against Virginia Tech, who sucks. Coach, well, they just brought in James Franklin, but he's not I don't think officially the coach yet. Number 14, Vanderbilt beats Kentucky 45-17. Dylan Pavia, 33 of 39 for 484 yards and 5 touchdowns, runs for 48 yards more, and a touchdown. Big game for him. Pitt pulls off an upset against number 16, Georgia Tech, 42-28. Georgia Tech would have been in the ACC title game if they won that game at Pitt. Pulls it off. They went up 21-0 in this one. Georgia Tech tried to work their way back in. It was 2014 at the half, but too little, too late. Pitt picks up a win. Yeah, number 17, Texas beats Arkansas 52-37. Arch Manning for 389, 4 touchdowns, 6 total touchdowns in this game. Arkansas, of course, is really bad. 2-9, 0-7 in the SEC. Already fired their coach. Number 18, Michigan beats Maryland 45-20 right before the game this week against Ohio State. Bryce Underwood 16 of 23 for 215 and 2 touchdowns. Number 20, Tennessee beats Florida 31-11. A lot of people thought Florida might keep it close, but they're 3-8. They're 3-8. I know the roster is better than 3-8, but they're 3-8. Wisconsin pulled an upset over number 21 Illinois 27-10. So Wisconsin actually playing pretty well down the stretch. Luke Fickell trying to make it worth their while, but they're keeping him as the coach next year. TCU beats number 23 Houston 17-14, a small upset in the Big 12. Number 24 Tulane beats Temple 37-13. They got a chance to be the group of 5 team that makes the playoff this year. Might be one of the two, with the ACC just being bleh. And number 20 Arizona State beats Colorado 42-17. They're 8-3. Colorado's 3-8. Move on from Dion. Enough is enough. They're 1-7 in the Big 12. The guy's terrible. Like, they're a little bit better than when he first took over. I get it. It's been 3 years now, but no, they're just not good enough. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Dion leaves after like next year and he doesn't get fired. It's time for them to move on. NFL Week 12 Sunday slate. Bears over the Steelers 31-28. Caleb Williams 19 of 35 for 239 for touchdowns. The guy still sucks. Don't worry. About DJ Moore with 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Gainwell run for 92 yards for the Steelers. I don't think no Allen Rodgers in this game with that wrist injury. He definitely was pushed to play, as we heard. This is probably his last year. I'm sure he wanted to beat the Bears one more time, but it didn't happen. Bears were 8-3. The Bears gotta be the worst 8-3 team I've ever seen. They've beaten nobody. They're barely escaping these games. It's wow. But they're 8-3. Kudos to Ben Johnson. And the Steelers are 6-5 now. Their struggles continue. Patriots over the Bengals 26-20. Bengals jumped out up 10-0. Patriots pretty much put the game away from there. May 22 of 35 for 294 on a touchdown. Big game for Hunter Henry. 7 catches, 115 yards and a touchdown. Patriots again win. I'm not sure why Joe Burrow didn't play. I know he's expected to play this Thanksgiving. He wasn't expected to come back until December anyway. But if you're playing in Thanksgiving, health couldn't be that much of a reason. It's only 4 days in between games. And like I know it's like, oh, it's Thanksgiving nightcap against the arch rival and the Ravens, but like if you lose this game, which you were probably going to anyway, because Jamar Chase was suspended, and they're just not very good. The Patriots are a really good team. Now you're 3-8. You don't have much of a chance. Even if you beat the Ravens, like you're still probably not going to steal the division, even if you beat them. So I'm not sure why they did that. Zach Terry is such a joke. They gotta fire him. But Patriots get another win. They're 10-2. 6-0 on the road, too. Lions come from behind to beat the Giants 34-27 in overtime. They were actually down briefly. They were down 17-7 in the second quarter, down 27-17 in the fourth quarter, and came from behind for the victory. Giants, of course, started Jameis Winston, and we got a full Jameis Winston experience for sure, and then a great finish to this game in overtime.
3rd down and 2 on the toss. Singletary back to Winston. And now Winston fires downfield into the end zone. Touchdown! Wan'Dale Robinson. You hear him. Another trick play as Olszewski throws. It's caught. Olszewski with the pass into the end zone for a Giants touchdown. Right, the blown leads have been well documented. There's Gibbs. Belton couldn't bring him down. Holland chasing after him. And Jahmyr Gibbs is into the end zone. Now Detroit looking to get into field goal range. Out of timeouts. Because of the play clock, it ran down. 2nd down and 10. It's Gibbs. Picks up the Lions' 1st down. As well, forcing down the 4th down. So here's Bates from 59. It is good. So I'm going to keep watching that. There's Gibbs on 1st down. Jahmyr Gibbs across midfield. One man to beat. Inside the 20, the 10. Touchdown on the first play from scrimmage. Winston on 4th down. Flag on the play as Winston. 10th play of the drive in overtime. 2nd down and 7. Winston's pass incomplete. Winston looking on 4th down. He's wrapped up and down he goes.
So great finish. A couple of crazy plays there from Jameis Winston on the flea flicker, which is a little bit ugly. He's got hazy throws, but so throws a dot to Wan'Dale Robinson. And that crazy play where he hands it up to Tyrone Tracy, he flips it to Gunnar Olszewski, a special teams player. Like avoids pressure, throws a kind of a duck to Jameis Winston, who catches it, somehow breaks a tackle, gets in the end zone for a touchdown. The Lions come back, keep it close. Jahmyr Gibbs had that long rush touchdown. Some really poor tackling by the Giants there. God, they can't tackle for their lives. Then get the ball back, but a minute, 40 50. Gotta go almost the full field, but 59-yard field goal from Jake Bates just barely makes it. And first play from overtime, Gibbs, long touchdown run. No idea why Dexter Lawrence wasn't on the field. Another terrible coaching decision by the Giants. And Jameis had the Giants driving in overtime, but got sacked on 4th down after missing that 3rd down throw. That's going to hold him, the one he missed to Wan'Dale. But great game. Lions win 34-27 in overtime. Lions are 7-4. Giants up to 2-10 on the year. But and today I think they had the second pick in the draft. Packers over the Vikings, 23-6. 28 carries, 107, two scores for Manny Wilson. Another brutal game for J.J. McCarthy, just 12 of 19 for 87 yards. There's no touchdowns, two picks. Another brutal interception for him right here.
McCarthy down the seam and too tall and picked off. Second interception.
It's a terrible throw. He always misses high. If you miss low, that's one thing. It's one thing to miss low, but you miss high, that's how you throw picks in this league. This guy sucks. I don't care who the backup quarterback is. I know Carson Wentz is injured for the season. Run somebody else out there. You are doing your team malpractice by running this guy out there. I don't know how you do it. The guy is terrible. And he was hurt last year. Off the line is very good. He took 5 sacks, but one of them tripped on his own feet. The guy is not an NFL quarterback. The guy threw 3 picks against Bowling Green in college, okay? This is what Jim Harbaugh never let him throw. It's why they had such a one-heavy offense in Michigan. Stop it with this guy. This is the guy that you move on from after a season. This is the quarterback that you move on from here, even though he was a first-round pick. Call it quits. It's over for him. Packers now 7-3-1. Vikings are 4-7. Seahawks over the Titans, 30-24. Titans keep it close. They're down big early, but Kim Ward, maybe his best game of the year. 20-14 for 256 and the touchdown. James had 8 catches, 167 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Big game for him. He's already worked at Seahawks. Frank has receiving record over 1,300 receiving yards, and he still has another 6 games to play. Crazy. Seahawks 8-3. Titans are 1-10. They'd be the first pick of the season end today. Chiefs escape over the Colts, win 23-20 in overtime, 14 unanswered in the fourth quarter and overtime. Being down 20-9. Escape with a win.
In the backfield, here's the handoff. Caught up and over for the touchdown. Mahomes got it to Rice. Jones pass across the middle. Caught, but brought down quickly as Pittman.
Throw it outside the numbers, Jim.
You got a 2nd and 13. Down the middle. He's got Rice, and Rice is running. Rice is taken off past the 40. Rice is near midfield before he's shoved out of bounds by Pratt. The kick is good.
And they get no yards here.
3rd and 1. And they don't get no yards. They get a loss of 2 yards. It's a blitz. Stepping up and heaving it. And Worthy makes the catch. And they're in field goal range. Steichen right there at the line, running down at the last minute. 2nd and 10. Mahomes has Rice at the 30. And the kick is good.
Fourth quarter, Hunt runs it in. Mahomes to Rice for the 2-point conversion. And then they stop the Colts. They go down, even after a great punt. They go about 3 quarters of the field. Not a lot of time. Mahomes makes a couple of big throws. Bucker, 35-yarder. Good. Goes to overtime. And 3rd and 1, they stuff Jonathan Taylor, the league's best back right now. And then another couple big plays from Mahomes. Bucker hits a short field goal. Chiefs win in overtime. The Colts got to be better than that. You had a chance to probably put away the defending champs and the defending AFC champs, and you didn't do it. Chiefs are now 6-5. They're 5-1 at home. That's interesting. They're 1-4 on the road. Colts are now 8-3 on the year. Ravens over Jets 23-10. No surprise here. 2 touchdowns for Derrick Henry. Jets were down by 10 in the fourth quarter, and then Breece Hall did this.
5. Hall trying to get to the outside. Now cuts it up. Breece Hall still going, and he lost the football. Baltimore claiming they have it. No official signal yet. And now it is Ravens ball.
I was so upset when this happens. How do you fumble? You just had a great drive. The fourth quarter, you take the team all the way down. Fourth quarter, under 7 minutes left. Chance to pull off in the field goal late in the game, and you fumble right around the goal line. Like, come on, dude. You gotta be better than that. Browns over the Raiders, 24-10. Gino played a little bit better. Gentry still 17 carries for only 50 yards. The Raiders suck. They're down 14-3 at the half. They suck. They're 2-9. They are so bad. They are awful. However, to make a change, they fired their offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly. He was terrible this year. How he's made Ashton Gentry look like meh is beyond me. He's terrible. He's out of a job. Browns get the 3-8. Congratulations to Shador winning the game. Hooray. It's the first Browns rookie to win their debut since '99. That's how bad the Browns have been. But he had one or two great throws. He had the screen pass to Dylan Sampson, took 60 yards. Other than that, not a whole lot to see there. And he's going to start next week. You have Gabriel healthy, so he'll probably start the rest of the year. I don't like Shador. I think he's terrible. But he should start the rest of the way. It took Gabriel up before him. He gave him a shot. He wasn't good. He gets hurt. Shador gets in there. We wins the game. Didn't play all that well. And it was against maybe the worst team in the league, but wins a win. So Browns, their first road win of the year. Jaguars over the Cardinals, 27-24 in overtime. Brissett, another good game. 33 of 49 for 317 and a touchdown. Tells you how bad Kyler Murray is. They're 3-8. Jaguars get to 7-4. Cowboys win a crazy game over the Eagles, 24-21. They're down 21-0 in the second quarter. Come all the way back and defeat the division rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Hurts throwing end zone. A.J. Brown, touchdown. Oh, that got close, and man gets hit down. There's a penalty flag, too. Once that plant leg, that left leg for punter is taken out, that's a Hurts, design run, up the middle he goes, Jalen Hurts still going, he's in, touchdown.
Even get a little momentum going your way.
Scavante terrific backfield, he lost the ball, that is on the floor and is picked up by Zach Bond. This time the Eagles will have the recovery. Prescott, thinking about running, is he going to get there? Gets a block, Prescott flies in, touchdown. Inside his 5, he catches it at the 1. He gets a good block. And Gibson out across. He fumbles it. It's loose. Cowboys recovered it. Trent Singh, I think, got it.
Under the bottom of the screen.
Prescott sees that. Looking. Nothing. In trouble. Throws. Caught, but short. Ferguson doesn't know. It's incomplete. It doesn't matter. The Eagles take over. Cowboys rush 4. Hurts. In trouble, sacked! Oso Diggy Zula for a big loss, and the Cowboys will get it back. 3rd and 2. Prescott over the middle, caught by Ferguson. First down in the Eagles' territory with Aubrey. They're already in field goal range. Blitz coming, Prescott over the middle. It is caught in stride. George Pickens again, and he's down to the 21. Aubrey up and
crazy game. So Philly goes up 7-0 early. Hurts to A.J. Brown. Look, they actually connected on one. And then Eagles punt, but then Cowboys going to rough the kicker, which gives the Eagles the ball back. Hurts runs one in, they go up 14-0. Later it's 21-0. Dallas, scores, makes it a little bit closer. And then they end up Dak ties it, make it 21-21. Then Xavier Gibson fields a punt at his own goal line, gets blown up, fumbles inside the 10-yard line. That guy, how's that guy still have a job in the NFL? That guy's the worst returner I've ever seen. He can't stop fumbling. But then Cowboys go 3 and out, 4th and goal. They get stuffed. So they get nothing after getting the ball at the 7-yard line. But then, Saquon fumble in there, and then Cowboys sack Jalen Hurts, get the ball back in a tie game, less than 2 minutes to go. They go down to Aubrey, who missed if you go earlier in the game, only 40, I think it was a 51-yarder or something like that, makes a 42-yarder, I think it was, to give the Cowboys a crazy come from behind win, 24 unanswered. Huge divisional win for them. They're 5-5-1 on the year. The even looks a little bit better since they got Quentin Williams. Granted, the week before they played the Raiders. And even the Eagles offense has been struggling. Eagles now 8-3. Cowboys 5-5-1. Falcons over the Saints, 24-10. Saints suck. Kirk Cousins played for the Falcons. And the Rams deplete the Bucks 34-7. Matthew Stafford, 25 of 35 for 273 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's got 30 touchdowns against 2 picks this year. I think he's the MVP right now. With Jonathan Taylor showing these last couple of games, I think the MVP should be Matthew Stafford. 97 yards for Puka Nacua in the game. Rams are 9-2. Bucks are 6-5. Continue to struggle. Injuries continue to pile up. Thankfully, Chris Godwin just came back. Bucky Irving should come back next week. That being said, Monday Football tonight is Panthers Niners. I picked the Niners to win, but if Carolina wins, they will be in first place heading into week 13. Our night Smackdown, actually a very solid Smackdown, one of the better ones we've had this year, finally. Uh, Opening segment was a War Games related. It was Paul Heyman coming out with Logan Paul and the Bronze. And then obviously the 5 is going to be the Bronze, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar against Cody Rhodes, the Usos, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns. And then Cody Rhodes was supposed to come out, and then McIntyre beat him up on his tour bus and then left the arena. Remember, he is suspended. The Usos interrupted from Logan Paul's, which was kind of funny. Then he had Ilya Dragunov as United States Open Challenge against JD McDonough. Very good match. Just 2 great athletes going at it. Dragunov picks up the win. Obviously, Ciampa continues to try and give a chance. He got called a jackass again, and their shirts, the DIY. Ciampa's is Don't Call Me a Jackass, and Gargano's is Don't Call My Best Friend a Jackass. It was pretty funny. Carmelo Hayes versus Bronson Reed in the Last Time Is Now match. Carmelo Hayes wins. Great match. Right decision. That was a really good match. Obviously, he had some shenanigans with Bron Breakker and Cody Rhodes. And that promo by Cody Rhodes was one of the best of his career. That was great on remember the whole heel team for War Games, which is a Saturday. DIY against Fraxton in a tag team match. Very good match. DIY picks up the win. That's been a very nice feud. Penta against Finn Balor in the last time is now a tournament. Penta picks up the win. Solid match. Solid match from that one. Wouldn't mind seeing Finn Balor win, but I do like Penta a lot. He's the man. Penta wins. And then that was pretty much the show. Then the women's War Game stuff came out. First, it was a Flair was Io Sky and Rhea announced that AJ Lee was their 5th member. And the heels attacked them with Becky Lynch being revealed as the 5th member of their team. So the women's War Games match will be Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, and AJ Lee. I think AJ Lee is in the War Game. It's still bizarre. She's back against Nia Jax, Lash Legend from the Kabuki Warriors, which is of course Asuka and Kairi Sane and Becky Lynch. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.